We were told this week's Gamescom was going to be weak sauce, and sure enough, opening night live was a rehash of the same old AAA titles that we've come to expect this year. But don't fret, because we're still going to talk about Starfield and CyberPunk, but make sure you stick around for the second half of the show, where we highlight some of our favorite less than AAA games from the Future Games show. And we've got some demos.
Hi, I'm Josh. And have you considered pickling that?
And my name's Andy. You are watching Video Game Tango. Or listening, I guess. Like you heard in the intro, we've got Gamescom this week.
Yes.
Now, we did talk last week briefly about how Jeff Keighley said that Gamescom opening night live specifically.
He threw out a low bar.
He did, and they met it.
It was pretty it was pretty low.
To be fair,
it was pretty low.
They met it. Now, not to say that the games that they showed aren't going to be big, aren't going to be good, aren't going to be, showstoppers by any means. We've got some big names.
It's just games that we've already seen at Summer Games Fest, that we saw at Summer Games Fest last year, that we saw at GamesCon, brand new, some of them last year.
Yeah.
So it's just like some of them are updates. So it wasn't a lot of new on that first night. And they said that, but it was...
So we've got your Starfields, we got the Lords of the Fallen, we've got Armored Core 6, we've got all those, of course.
Yeah, we're
gonna hit them briefly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, the bar was low enough that it actually did trip up Nick, and he had to take the night.
And now he's a video.
Yeah,
for anybody not watching and just listening, that's not gonna make sense. But for everybody watching right now, it's we're trying a new thing.
Yeah, we did a thing.
Yeah, we did a thing. So we're just gonna get started right off with Starfield.
Yeah, jumping into we got a nice big, a nice little look at this big juggernaut that some people are going to be able to play in early access in just under a week. So Starfield is here. It's almost here. It's right around the corner, literally.
I mean, there's a couple games that we've been looking forward to this year. Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, Armored Core. There's a handful of games that are like must-haves on the docket, and they're happening.
And it's that time. That is in itself for Gamescom very exciting that they get to be like the last, they're waving the checkered flag as these juggernauts start crossing the finish line here. And again, we're seeing, this is mostly just a nice, pretty theatrical release. But what we did get was a wonderful taste of the soundtrack that we are looking forward to from the head sound designer or sound engineer, whatever that guy's called, the conductor, that guy. I'm sorry, I'm not
the
getting
music man.
I'm not getting your job title right, but you did a fantastic job. And then the big man. Todd Howard himself came out for a few minutes to talk about this, this new IP that, I mean, again, you got Bethesda face all over it, but I'm excited. They have came out and they've promised quite a bit. And some of what we're seeing, it does look to be holding up, but I mean, early access is coming, and we're going to see.
I mean, the game is coming. It's almost here.
Yeah, the game's coming. But again, it's exactly. Some people are going to be able to play it a little earlier. But on those first days, we're going to see. And that's going to be the tail of the tape right there. But an exciting last look before it comes out. So.
Yeah. So as far as the news cycle, Starfield hasn't necessarily been dominating like it has been previously. Because what's going on at Gamescom, a lot of it isn't being shown publicly. So, as I understand it, Bethesda built a theater just outside of the Gamescom hall. And that's where they're showing real gameplay. There's they actually have people playing the game.
Jeff Keighley played it. He said he can't talk about it, but
it's all under NDA. It's mostly invite only. So, but they have their own hall. They're playing Starfield. They're showing more gameplay. That's not, there's no public access to that, but that's where Starfield's at right now. It's hitting show floors. it's almost ready to go.
Yeah.
So we can expect, obviously, Starfield coming out soon.
September 6th, I believe. And then September 1st for those lucky bastards that went ahead and paid the extra bucks to get the early access there.
Yeah. So it's happening. It's happening. Another game that I think is pretty happening, it's called Crimson Desert. Now, this one we hadn't heard much about previously. We've seen a little bit of Crimson Desert from, I believe it was Summer Games Fest, but we have talked about it a little bit. Now, when we talked about it previously, there was only a little theatrical trailer that was out and not much, well, like we couldn't speak on the game itself.
Yeah, there's pretty much no meat to that sandwich. It was just flash. No substance.
Now, there is substantially more substance in this trailer, but it's still not quite like we are seeing gameplay, certainly, but we're seeing very brief flashes of gameplay. And essentially, from what we're seeing, we do know that it's an open world adventure game.
Yeah, it does seem unlike. So this is going to be set in the Black Desert Online universe. It is still set in there. This game was originally going to be a spin-off or maybe a huge DLC or a second chapter or something like that. But the devs were having so much fun with it, and it became so much its own thing that it's just its own thing,
its own release, and it plays immensely different than BDO. So BDO being mostly top-down combat, like almost Diablo style, it plays very different. This is like third-person action game.
But for you fanboys and girls out there, there's probably going to be some Easter eggs, or you're going to recognize some names, and recognize some places. But this has initially, like what we talked about, I feel is like a bit of a Witcher meets Assassin's Creed kind of like gameplay mechanics feel. Combat seems very fast paced, like it can get in The Witcher when you're, popping and dropping. But then it shows some stealth in. You're stealing horses, jumping in windows. You're fishing, so the game seems to have a lot going on, and it definitely piqued my interest right away. I like how the armor sets look. I don't know. It seems very cool. Very cool.
It seems like it's a fairly well polished game. I know you had words to say otherwise while we were talking about the trailer earlier. You thought maybe like graphically, the graphics fidelity could be better.
I have recently because I got a pretty good graphics card. I have become a little I guess graphics spoiled. So I was saying I felt like it could use maybe just like 10% more polish. Like I want some of them rougher edges off, because like I was saying, it looks like Witcher 3, but not the remastered version that I have. I want
I think it looks easily just as good.
Like honestly, seeing these scenes here with the wheat blowing around and seeing how smooth that is, even in those short combat stints, it looks like they've done a good job. I think I was probably being a little overly critical when we were first watching.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
So again, that's Crimson Desert. As always, videogametango.com. Check out the blog. We're going to have links to all the trailers, links to the download sites for their games, whether it be Epic Games Store, Steam, what have you.
This one's looking at to be determined release or 2024.
I thought I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I don't know if that's
I think that was
a
TBA right there, baby.
Yeah. So we've got more follow-up on Lords of the Fallen. Now, this isn't necessarily follow-up on gameplay, because what we've actually seen so far has been mostly gameplay. Yeah. We've gotten a little bit of cutscenes and stuff here so they can show off the atmosphere. But yeah, the last trailer that came out was a gameplay trailer. This one is a story trailer, so it actually offers a little bit in the way of story. But it is like, this is the official extended story trailer, the launch trailer, because this game is coming out soon. If I remember correctly, it's coming out in a few days. So Lords of the Fallen, just a little bit of follow-up there. Not a whole lot new to talk about. We know this, I guess we don't know, but it definitely seems like it's going to be in the vein of something like a roguelite. Or not a roguelite, Souls-like.
It has the visuals. If you're just listening, it has a very Elden Ring kind of a feel with that just
Oh, I'd say a little more gothic. Like
I was just say a little more of a gothic bend to it, but like that creepy, dark, gothic. Some of this stuff, like kind of a body horror kind of a thing, because it's like animals and it's creepy limbs, but definitely a sword and sorcery vibe on this shit. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks great. I think if you're into Souls games, it's probably something to check out. You know, we've been getting, there's been a ton of them in recent history. Lies of P most notably came out pretty recently. But if you're into those types of games, this seems like it's going to be right up your alley. It looks phenomenal. You know, graphically, it looks great. Yeah, you already know if you're looking forward to this game.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of getting really into these styles of games because it to me, they're pushing away from that FOMO style of gaming, that season-y pass kind of thing. It looks like you just play this whenever the hell you want. You know?
They're putting out games.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's why those Souls, like again, like I said last week, Elden Ring was a fucking monster because it wasn't an open face cash grab. There was real substance to that game, you know? So it's cool to see stuff like this. That's why they're making them. It's because they're doing well.
And a correction, it comes out 13th of October.
Oh, okay. So a little further out than we were thinking, but
just a little further, but that's fine.
Right around spooky season, baby.
Get your
PSL, you know.
I wonder, is October 13th a Friday? That would be excellent.
Get in Lords of the Fallen. Hell
October 13th is a Friday. Friday the 13th of October. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Boy, they timed that well.
Yeah, they sure did. Maybe they. I bet you this game's been made for like 3 years. And
been waiting. It's like, God, we need it on the 13th, yeah. Friday the 13th.
No,
Shit.
Of course not. But
no.
Next up, we've got Fort Solace. Now, this is a game that neither of us have. It hasn't been on our radar up until now.
But it kind of jumped. So again, it's been out, but we haven't really talked about it before. Kind of skipped off our radar. But I think it's out.
It is out.
It's out now.
Yes.
So this is going to be a single-player, third-person thriller. It's set over one very long, very hard, very disturbing night on Mars. So this is going to fit right into your eerie space horror kind of a feel. Now, this is I believe a narrative storytelling game. Yeah. So other than, again, a few quick time events, you're not going to be doing a lot. But if there's innovative storytelling here, and that seems like what it is. I was honestly on the edge of my seat watching this trailer. Everything from the sounds of what's going on, it sounds creepy. The dark feels like this could be a spooky movie night, you know? Like you and your partner want to do some bonding time and they don't like video games. Well, this might just be the thing for them if they're into horror.
It's possible this could be a girlfriend game.
Yeah, like honestly, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, while it's really a story-driven game, it does look like it's going to be short.
Yeah, like a short narrative, right? Yeah.
So it looks like maybe like 2 sessions worth. Mm-hmm. So from what I can tell, basically they're saying it should be about a 5-hour game. From what I'm actually seeing on YouTube, there are full playthroughs that are under 4 hours and some that are like just over 3. So it does seem like it's going to be a relatively short game, especially if you're like accustomed to these types of games. It might be a relatively short game, but if the narrative is strong, then...
I mean, it's a movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're coming in and getting a creepy space horror movie and if the price is right on it, like...
And it's a playable movie.
It's a playable movie. So.
That's right. Well, Josh, this one's a little bit closer to you, but it is kind of a big deal.
It is kind of a big deal.
And that, of course, is going to be CyberPunk 2077 Phantom Liberty.
So along with Phantom Liberty comes the giant, huge last final update as well. So there's, guys, Cyberpunk 2077 is finally ready. It's finally being...
Well, except for the tram. But there's mods for that.
Yep, there is mods for that. But this is close to the, I feel like finally close to what the ambitions that they set out to. Now, I picked up CyberPunk a year after most people did. I wasn't a day one player. So I had a year of updates and stick-to-itiveness from Red something.
CD
Projekt Red. Good. I knew it was Red. Something Red was in there. I was brain farting. So a year after a year of stick-to-itiveness from them, I started playing CyberPunk and was fine. I enjoyed it at the price I paid, but seeing all these updates from everything from skill trees to how they've updated car combat, because getting in the car in CyberPunk was just, boy, was it just driving from point A to point B. Like I drove to a fast travel station so I could fast travel. Like, that is the most driving I did because the cars were dumb. Yeah, but it looks like they've really revamped the car combat, how the police are going to be tracking you. Because, dude, if I'm this badass, I am, if this is a cyber psycho, right here. Like, I am right on the line. It's like, So I'm glad to see these updates. I'm glad that they stuck to it. Good on CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, it goes to show you that while they failed to deliver initially all the things they promised, they kind of kept their promise in that they said, we are going to do better. We're going to keep working on it. We're not done. We're not going to leave you hanging. We really, and it seems like CD Projekt Red was honest in that they really missed the mark with what they wanted to deliver early on. And it does seem like they've been hard at work on CyberPunk with all the updates it's gotten.
Exactly.
And Phantom Liberty looks solid. I mean, we're only really seeing this is mostly a theatrical trailer, but there is plenty of gameplay along with it.
Oh, and we've seen gameplay solid already too. Yeah. Again, at Summer Games Fest, they had a whole setup there,
a whole thing.
So this is great. We're getting a whole new district in there. So there is just straight up more to do. So if you've been waiting, if you've been hemming and hawing, thinking, I don't know yet, now's the time to jump in, go ahead, play the whole full game finally. I'm looking forward to getting back into it eventually. So it's going to really feel like a new game again by the time I get back into it. So it's
you might need to start your game over again.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Next up on the list, another big game and another follow-up, but something that is near and dear to my heart. Nick and I, in particular, have been talking about this quite a bit.
Honestly, it's Nick's so excited about it, it actually killed him.
Yeah, no. That's Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. Comes out day after tomorrow while we're shooting right now, but by the time you're listening to this on Friday, it will have launched.
And listening. You could be listening to your favorite podcast, Video Game Tango, and playing Armored Core 6. How cool is that?
That's right. Or watching and playing if you've got a couple monitors. So yeah, Nick and I, big Armored Core fans from the earlier games, less so from the middle of the series. But what both of us are hoping so far is that this is like a reboot to the franchise and can really take all the best elements from 1 and 2 in particular, and then merge them with, the later.
Shit, they've been making these games for 20 years. They gotta, there's gotta be some, we're gonna have an up and a down here and there. We're gonna have a down here and there, but this looks,
it looks fun. It really does look like they've taken notes from the player base, because like the people that were into the first couple games, they didn't care necessarily for the next few games because they either got way too fast combat, or it was mostly aerial combat, or the combat didn't feel as rewarding and chunky and clunky as the first couple games did, and felt more like you were playing like a later Dragon Ball Z game or something like that. Whereas this feels like it certainly, while it's relatively fast paced, seems like they've brought back. There's you get the weight. Mm-hmm. And I think that's to me, that's important. And I know to the Armored Core fan base, a lot of us, that's important. So Comes out on Friday. Can't wait to play this thing. It's been a long time coming, and really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it doesn't have a Voltron-y kind of a feel. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel Voltron-esque.
No, I don't know what you mean.
Well, I mean, Voltron's like the anime mech dude.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like, because, like, in some of the other Armored Core 4, it has, like, I felt like a Voltron feel.
Like really fast-paced combat is what you're... Okay.
Yes, like this doesn't feel that way.
I just needed you to elaborate a little bit more.
I kind of sounded like a stroke victim there for half a second.
For a second. It's okay.
I made it through, though.
Well, speaking of follow-up, Alan Wake 2. We've seen quite a bit of Alan Wake 2 in the last few months, especially Summer's Game Fest. It was a big announcement.
That was a big announcement.
Yeah. Now, what they had to show at Summer Games Fest was it was a taste of the gameplay. Mm-hmm. What we're getting here is more of a theatrical trailer, kind of a story trailer. It's trippy, man, and it really emphasizes that this is a horror franchise.
And it is setting you up. It's like, don't be surprised if you play this game with the lights on.
Yeah,
like it has a very creepy feel. The trailer they're doing is super creepy. It jumps back and forth in between some cut scenes and an act. Creepy as fuck.
Yeah, cut scenes, live action. It's interesting.
I see. I never played the first. I don't go much for horror games unless someone makes me play them, because it's not really my style. I get creeped. I have an overactive imagination, so
sure.
I get creeped out easily.
We've only got a couple months, and we'll subject you to some more of them, because I've got a list. But yeah, Alan Wake 2, another highly anticipated game. Now the first game and its successor, it was like a offshoot, a DLC, I guess. They weren't huge games, but man, it does have a pretty big cult following.
Yeah, I was gonna say a loyal and at this point now rabidly hungry for the second game. So yeah,
and because of its creativity, I'm looking forward to it.
I would say I get where they're coming from.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, that was all the games from opening night live that we felt were really worth discussion. Otherwise, it was just a rehash of what we've seen previously, and not a whole lot of new content, and even some recycled trailers.
Modern Warfare 3 again. Mortal Kombat 1. Which looks cool, but is probably going to be just very games as a service, which us here at Video Game Tango not really down super hardcore with.
Yeah, when at the end of the trailer, they feature Shang Tsung as a playable character if you pre-order, and then they show you 6 more downloadable characters that are coming later.
Yeah, like Omni-Man and Homelander and the Justice dude, John Cena's superhero guy. Yeah. I can't think of his actual name. I can't think of his name
either. But yeah, when they've got like 6 or 7 different characters that they're showing before the game has launched, they're advertising their DLC. It's like, all right, dude, that's we've had enough. So that was opening night live. We're gonna move on to
the much more exciting day,
the Future Games Show, which happened earlier today. Now, Future Games Show is a games showcase of the less than AAA. You can call them AA, you can call them indie games, whatever it is. They are from smaller, more independent studios. Certainly a lot less money thrown at them, but especially this year, feels like a lot of heart thrown at them.
Yeah.
We have a pretty healthy selection of games that we would like to talk about. We won't go too long on them because we're already going too long on this episode.
Yeah, we need to cruise. We're cruising.
We're going to cruise through them real quick. But what I really want you to do, listener or watcher, is independently, I want you to check out these games. Not only are these games worth watching a trailer for, like there was an hour and 44 minutes worth of trailers here. We're going to take a third of those games they showed, maybe less, condense that into the next 20, 30 minutes. But I want you to go check these out on Steam. Most of them have demos available.
Quite a few.
There's a huge swath. Even outside of the games that we're talking about and the games that they showcased at Future Games Show, there's just a ton of games being put out right now with demos available. And just for instance, earlier I calculated it. There was, let's see, 86 demos available just from the last 2 days of Gamescom that are available on Steam right now. So I really implore you to go check out the demos page for Future Games Show on Steam and check these out. Now, any of these that have demos available right now that are readily available on Steam, we'll let you know. Some of them have play tests available from the developer, so you have to go to the
upcoming betas.
Right.
Yep.
So you have to go to the developer site. Some of them are available now, and some of them are only available for wishlist. But a lot of these games are in some kind of playable form right now, and I implore you to check those out. And at the very least, check out the Future Games Show page on Steam.
That's right, dear listener. I don't make a lot of guarantees, but I guarantee you there is a game in here in this list of 80 some odd demos that like, right? I guarantee you there is something in here, and these guys, like you said, a lot of heart and soul in these games. So yeah. I'm looking forward to talking about these. So
the first game I want to talk about is a game called Stop Dead. Hey, you guys remember Mirror's Edge?
I do remember that game.
Yeah. Well, this has some serious Mirror's Edge vibes while also being like super fast paced, cannot stop moving, nonstop action, shooter, gravity manipulation, explosive action game. The pace of this game looks hyper frantic. The faster you go, it seems like the better things get. And like you're avoiding fire while you're shooting a gun, while you're using mind powers, and it's all happening very, very quickly. In a super high fast or super high paced runner type game. It's all first person, and this game looks super creative and really fun.
It does look super creative. I mean, in the trailer here, the person has used everything from a body to a gun to a chicken leg to defend themselves from whatever the heck is happening. Honestly, it's too fast paced for me. I don't think I could. It looks really cool, but I don't think I could play this. It's honestly making me a little motion sick, feeling watching it.
And it might have that effect to the week. But no, it seems like you carry your momentum with the things that you grab
that you're grabbing onto, and then maybe you can tail off of. But this is this is a fresh kind of a feel, and where you're getting the second iteration of Modern Warfare 3, you're also getting something that feels really fresh and kind of different like this. So that's really cool. I dig it.
Next up on the list, Josh, this one really piqued your interest. This one is called Streets of Rogue 2.
Right. This one did jump out at me. So this is going to be an immersive RPG sandbox set in a randomly generated open world. It says freedom and fun are on a whole different level here. So you're going to be able to do anything from farming to thieving to talking your way. You gotta overthrow the dictator. You gotta save the streets of Rogue from the bad people. And how you do that, boy howdy, is that up to you. I liked what we saw here. Now we didn't. Again, I don't feel like we saw a crazy amount of gameplay in here, but it looks pretty cool so far. It did pique my interest. A little bit of an RTS kind of a feel, a little bit of building stuff, base building kind of a feel. So definitely one to keep our eye on.
For shizzle. Next up, both of us. This kind of caught both of our eyes.
Yes.
This is called Soul Slinger Envoy of Death.
Now, dear listener, if you've tuned in before, you know how Josh feels about Weird West, and this has a very Weird West kind of a vibe. So this is one of those games, 80 games that we talked about having a demo. This is one that has a demo. You can play this. So you're going to be in the Weird West fantasy world, experiencing grief, loss, and one man's desperate obsession with cheating death. So first person shooter. There are some things that looks kind of reminiscent of a Skyrim-y kind of feel when you're picking up items and stuff like that. But I mean, there's shotgun jumping, fast-paced combat. It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks like there's use of magic, and if you're into roguelites, especially first-person roguelites,
this is for you.
This looks like a good one. Now, we're getting mostly gameplay in this. Super fast-paced, though. Really hard to tell how it's going to feel. Of course, when it comes to roguelite first-person shooters, how it feels matters a lot. But, again, there's a demo out now, so you can check it out before you make a purchasing decision.
Yeah.
You get to play the damn game. Now, this is going to be something that a lot of the indie crowd is really used to. You guys have been there for Blasphemous. Whether you've played it or whether you've only heard of it, you definitely know of it.
I got my first real look at it.
Josh got schooled on Blasphemous.
Yeah.
We went and we watched a couple of the cutscenes from the first game.
Wow.
Blasphemous 2 has their launch trailer. Blasphemous 2 is available now. So if you are into Metroidvanias at all, this one really stands out, not just in its art and its feel and its ambiance and the way it plays, but it is like a visceral experience, and you can tell that it is made by people that are looking to craft something with heart and soul. So Blasphemous 2, the follow-up to the original Blasphemous, it's really dark, gothic horror type Metroidvania. Yeah. And when I mean gothic horror, I mean like in the really creepy sense of gothic horror. Lots of blood, lots of gore, but that isn't the focal point of the game. The focal point really is to be top-notch.
Yeah.
Absolutely top-notch, narrative-driven Metroidvania.
And that's what everything from the trailer I'm seeing delivers, and everything that I went back and watched from Blasphemy, the first one. Guys, this is tip top.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're I know you're out there, Metroidvania fans. They keep making them. We're out here. This looks just fucking amazing. Honestly, I could watch just someone play this just based on the visuals alone.
When's the last time you got 16-bit cutscenes? Shit looks incredible.
It like I said, like we were watching the trailer for this earlier, and I was like, this honestly feels like what, again, 10-year-old Josh feels like is the pinnacle of video games. Again, those gothic horror themes is dark, it's creepy. God, I love it. And as long as that combat's tight, it looks like it's tight. As long as it's tight, the gameplay's tight, the controls are tight, it's going to be good.
Well, if it's anything like the first one, everything is tight.
Tight, like a tiger. So again, not to we talked last week about people being worried about Baldur's Gate 3 crushing like this game has nothing to worry about with Baldur's Gate 3. This is on level of the love and care that you feel in Baldur's Gate 3. Like they're delivering the same kind of care, just in a bit different of a medium.
Yeah.
Excited about this game.
Now, this is a weird one because this kind of game isn't usually up my alley, but something about the trailer spoke to me. This little game is called Star Trucker. The premise is that you are a trucker in space. Your whole goal is to carry loads from point A to point B, and get it done safely, get it done quickly. You got to make those shipments on time no matter what. And it seems like there is there's going to be a lot of simulation style gameplay, in that you have to make repairs on your truck. You have to do maintenance on your truck. You've got to make sure that you've got gasoline. It looks like it's probably going to be resource dependent, so you're probably going to make money, but you need to make sure that you're making enough money from today's trip to make sure you have enough money to do the next trip, and you got to make sure that it's all worth it. That's what I'm getting from this trailer. It's mostly a theatrical trailer. There is a narrator telling you exactly what you're supposed to do over the video of the trailer. Comes 2024. You can wishlist it. It is available, or it's interesting. It says in my notes that it's available now. It says in the trailer that it's available 2024. Probably available 2024. There might be a demo available soon, though. So make sure you check that out. The next one,
Space trucking,
that I want to talk about.
Bum, 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 bum.
This is a boomer shooter, just straight up. It's got shotgun jumping. It's got double-barreled shotguns, like you would expect like a Doom clone to have. Graphics are very reminiscent of like 2013, but it's got a fucking vibe that I vibe with. The theatrical trailer, the theatrical portion of the trailer, very reminiscent of like Akira or a Ghost in the Shell style Tokyo, that I'm so down for. This one just like, it speaks to the boomer shooter lover in me, and I need to play it. And Josh, you need to watch Akira and Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah. No, we actually decided that watching this, it was like, wow, I need to watch Akira.
Yeah. Now, graphically speaking, it's nothing, it's kind of whatever. We have seen this game previously. There was like a little gameplay showcase. I believe it was during Summer Game Fest.
Yep.
Where I didn't have great things to talk about it, but this trailer does something different for me. It looks like they've changed the atmosphere quite a bit. There's significantly more polish on this. I was going to say
there's way more polish on this. I remember when we were talking about it because excuse me, so sorry. During Summer Games Fest, I remember specifically we talked about it feeling like a Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's a boomer shooter. It looks cool, like kind of like Duke Nukem, so that needs some more polish. And they did that. It's like they were listening in. I like a lot of the cool, we're seeing some different gun functions, bouncing Betty rounds. Who doesn't love that?
Well, yeah, we're literally watching. It looks like the shotgun has a chamber for a grenade, and it also has two chambers for shells. You can use this shotgun to shotgun jump with, but you can also spit out. That's two guns. So he's using the grenade launcher to bounce a grenade on the floor, and then a shotgun to shoot it next to an enemy, so he makes sure that the enemy takes splash damage.
Yep, more polish. Honestly, dude, I see why this trailer it's better. They've done some more work, so it's good to see that. Kind of excited about this one too.
Yeah, I'm all
especially if it looks like there's going to be some co-op. You know how we feel about co-op here at VGT.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to. Let's talk about the next trailer. We have Twin Sails Interactive Montage. Now, this game is a montage of 3 different games, or this trailer rather is a montage of 3 different games. We have News Tower, which looks like it's going to be kind of a tower sim, and you're building your news empire. We have Bloomtown, which is a roguelite, and we have Wantless, which is an XCOM style tactics game. All 3 of which, the reason we bring that up is they all have demos available now. So News Tower, Bloomtown, and Wantless. I highly suggest you check those out.
3 pretty different styled games from one developer. Now, the thing I said about this was that's how you fucking do a trailer. They showed us gameplay. Yeah. They gave us a feel for what the game's going to be about and how it's going to feel when you play it. And it was all in 45 seconds. Magnifique.
Yeah. Now, I do want to go back to Sprawl. That's why I said, give me a second. Sprawl is available now for purchase. It became available this week during Gamescom. It's even on sale, 10% off during Gamescom. So if Boomer Shooter sounds good to you, I would check it out, especially at $13.49 right now.
Boy, that's, I mean,
yeah,
guys, spend $14, help them out. Like, let them make another game. Like, they're
if it's good,
into work.
If it isn't, you refund it.
Yeah, exactly. Give it a try.
Yeah.
$14.
Next up on the list, we've got a game called Aloft.
Aloft.
No, Aloft.
No. No, sorry. I shouldn't make shit up as well.
This is another one of those weird trailers. There are a lot of these happening right now that just straight up feel like Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Like a Breath of the Wild clone, right? That's how this starts out. You've got some kind of device that allows you to glide and fly through areas, and it's all neat, and the game looks lush and green, and there's floating islands.
A Zelda-y kind of a feel about the environs, and then all of a sudden it changes a little bit.
Turns out that it's a little bit of a base builder, and it looks like it's going to be kind of a base building survival type game, where the reason you glide is because most of what you're traversing, it looks like to be broken landscape that's in the air, but you can also turn it into a kind of airship, like we actually see here. They build a base on a floating island and then turn it into an airship with sails and rudders and steering, so your base becomes mobile. That includes flying on top of a giant flying turtle.
Yeah. By the end of the trailer, I was like, oh, it's actually a little more like Animal Crossing, but you can go to war with other people's islands.
Well, no, that was a different game.
No, that was a different game entirely.
Yeah,
Damn it, I gave it away.
This is the adventure one. This is the kind of adventure survival game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, bro.
I got all excited.
Yeah.
I'm honestly still excited about this, but it like I said, they're like you said, it is kind of a Breath of the Wild thing, but then all of a sudden takes a little bit of a left turn there.
Takes a little turn. Now, we were able to relate Aloft to another game pretty much immediately. This next one, really going to be hard to nail down what this game is like, because this game is called It's a Wrap. And It's a Wrap is a game that you play like you're editing a movie. So your main character is on screen doing a puzzle platformer. The way you complete the puzzle platformer is not by playing your character, but rather scrubbing through a timeline and making events change in time what happens.
Giving him plot armor.
Yeah, effectively. So it looks like you start every new level with your main character dying, and you've got to change the timeline. And when I say timeline, I mean like an Adobe Premiere style or a Sony Vegas style or like a video editor's timeline.
It kind of feels like Guitar Hero for video editing.
Kind of. Maybe, I mean,
a little bit with like the style, guess, right? But it's like, yeah, you have the different layers, different things. They're running. You can forwards, backwards.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Put them on a loop,
and quite literally, you have different layers. Like we're looking at this trailer right now, and you have on the timeline several different. I'm using air quotes here, quote unquote, clips where you control crane 1, crane 2, crane 1, or guard 1, guard 2, and guard 3 on a timeline, and you have to scrub where they're looking so they're not alerted where your main character is, or where the crane might be dumping its supplies so it doesn't fall on him when he's moving under the crane, right? So
or to hold it in an advantageous position so you can hide from the guards, perhaps. I mean,
or an advantageous position so you can ride the crane to the next point of interest on the map.
I mean, that's, man, ingenuitive. What a cool new function to bring to a puzzle platformer. Like, how cool is that, you know? Yeah,
it's super neat. I've never seen a game like this. I'm sure there are games that you can say that it's analogous to. Nothing's popping off in my head. I mean, I'm thinking of games like there's Mario Maker and stuff like that, but they don't
in the same vein.
Yeah,
like you're gonna be.
I would call them in the same family, right? Yeah, but it's as different as I am from my sister.
Yeah.
So yeah, really interesting game. We have another couple really interesting games coming up. Especially make sure you hang out to the end because the last game we're going to talk about, I think we're going to talk about at length.
Yeah.
And man, I implore you to even if you're not watching Video Game Tango and you're just listening, make sure you check out this trailer.
That trailer.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But for now, Josh, why don't you talk about Tiny Glade?
Now, guys, I don't really lean in to cozy games, but this little guy here came across my view. Tiny Glade, it's a relaxing castle builder where you're doodling castles in the landscape. There's no management, there's no grinding, there's no combat, there's no wrong answers. Just make a castle. How big do you want it to be? It doesn't matter. What kind of material do you want it to be made out of? You get to pick.
You also get to pet the sheep.
And you get to pet the sheep. Or some of the other animals. But it's like you get to make a fucking diorama in a little picturesque meadow or stream, like with a stream or whatever. It's just, God, it just seems relaxing. The video relaxed me watching it.
If you were to boil this game down as clinically as possible, this game is a map and building editor. But the tools it gives you seem to be extremely intuitive. Like, it seems like you really only need use of the mouse. And a few buttons. I'm sure you have to change whether you're building a fence or a wall on your keyboard, but it seems like it's going to be relatively intuitive because we're watching what I assume is somebody doing this live.
Yep.
And just by moving their mouse and holding down the left button, it looks like they're changing
how the domes are shaped, what size the cylinders are.
How many doors there are, because they made it wider and wider and wider. How long the fence is, whether the fence connects.
Yep. Is it made of wood or stone? Just with a click. Man.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. While
so relaxing seeming.
Yeah. While this doesn't really, cater to my taste necessarily, this is the kind of ease of use that I want in a good map editor, and reminds me of, I spent a lot of time in Neverwinter Nights making maps. I spent probably 3 or 4 times more time making maps than I did playing Neverwinter Nights, at least the story campaign. And if I had tools like this, man, I'm a map maker. I love making maps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? It might be up my alley. Dude, fuck it. Check it out. I don't know that it doesn't have a demo available, but if it's reasonably priced,
I was going to say it's looking at a 2024 release, more updates to come. But if this is in the the $15 or $20 range, easy. This is like Prozac. It's fucking relaxing.
I do want to go back a couple games, Aloft and It's a Wrap. I didn't mention while we're talking about them. Both of them have demos available on Steam now.
Nice.
So go check those out if they sound at all up your alley. Up my alley is a little game called Pacific Drive. We have talked about Pacific Drive a couple times now. It looks like it's a post-apocalyptic, almost stalker style game where you and your car, which it seems like you modified during the course of the game quite heavily, it looks like. You and your car are
may or
partners.
may not be physically bonded to in a way where you can't leave. It seems like some at one point.
We don't know.
We don't know.
There is lots of dialogue, it seems, from characters that you may or may not meet in this game that is overlaid on top of this trailer. But that's the first bit of story that we have gotten for Pacific Drive. And boy, oh boy, is it just enough to make me fucking bite. I am taking this bait 100%. I've always thought the visuals for Pacific Drive looked good, and that it's something to keep an eye on. But this trailer solidified, I'm gonna be playing this game.
Yeah, there's I don't think is Cronenberg the right terminology for some of those things that we're seeing out there.
I don't know.
Yeah, but some creepy monster looking things, and this is the first time where, because you've been kind of vibing on this game for a while now.
Yeah, for like over a year.
And this is the first time where I'm really seeing what you're stepping in on this game. It definitely looks cool.
I just thought early on that the art style was, I wouldn't even call it unique, but I would say, oh man, I don't know how to phrase it. I would just say that early on I looked at this game and I said, this looks like a real passion project. And it seems like they've taken their time because the development cycle has been long for this game. It's been a couple years now that we've been talking about it. And now that it's getting close to its 2024 release, I am looking forward to it. It's hard. I implore you, take a look at the trailer. You'll know what I'm talking about. The trailer.
This one is wishlist. This is wishlist available right now, but it looks really cool.
It does.
Like you said, a lot of heart and soul.
And there's a lot of mystery behind it because the trailers do not give you much. We've gotten a little bit of gameplay here and there. We've gotten quite a bit of pre-rendered trailers. But yeah, we're getting a little bit of gameplay in this theatrical trailer. Or the story trailer, as they call it, and I'm in. It's got enough stalker vibes that I'm sold. In a totally different vein, we have Abiotic Factor. This one is interesting. It very much reminds me. So we know that it's kind of a survival horror survival game. It's got multiplayer.
I like that.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be resource collection, a little bit of base building, but it takes place in a laboratory that has been taken over by, I don't know whether it's aliens or whether it's just monsters or hell beings from another plane of existence. I'm not sure, but it very much reminds me of like Black Mesa. And like even the checkered flooring and stuff in these hallways reminds me very much of Black Mesa, and running into my first Vortigaunt and running into scientists. It looks fascinating. It looks like there's probably going to be multiple classes. It looks like there's going to be third person and first person action taking place. It looks like there's going to be the ability to create traps involved. Looks like there's going to be multiple levels.
Some resource gathering.
Multiple ways to complete levels, and there's even going to be FPS action. So it looks like I'm putting this game in here not because I think it's going to be good, but because I think there is a lot of promise.
Yeah, there's some good potential here. There's some good potential here. And it looks like it's doing well what it's aiming to do. I like their graphics choice here. Again, the sound, because you're not able to hear the trailer, but when we were listening to the trailer early, the sound, everything sounded pretty good.
Sound design, yeah.
Yeah. So the sound design was excellent. It looks fun.
Yeah, I'm into it. Now, what I'm really into and what I've been looking forward to talking about for like the entire night so far is a weirdly named game with a weirdly made trailer. Everything is really weird about it. It's
strange.
Josh, do you have the synopsis for this game real quick?
Oh, yes. I believe I do. Yes. So, Dome King Cabbage, an award-winning visual novel about a cloud person named Mush nervously making their way to a job interview. Mush has to grapple with their ability to perceive the world through the lens of a monster-collecting RPG. After getting in tune with their newfound extrasensory powers, Mush is drawn to Crumb Island, an elusive site where they can get the enigmatic title of Dome King.
Yeah, so a weird one. the visuals.
His name is Mush, but it's not Dome King Mush. It's Dome King Cabbage.
Yeah. The visuals are just as weird. It is. This one I really like. I continue to say I implore you to look at these trailers, but you can't understand this one until you take a look at it.
I've been playing video games for near 30 years. I ain't never seen nothing like this.
Yeah. So we're watching what looks like this little walnut boy with a hat sailing through these different worlds, sailing through these completely different art styles. I talked about different art styles in Viewfinder, and similarly, we're experiencing a lot of that in this. But this is
turned up to a different level.
This is turned up to fever dream.
Yeah.
So I want to go through the visual art style of this real quick. So
yes, please.
Early on, we're looking at what looks like real books on a real shelf with a tiny table and a camera on top of it. We zoom into the camera here and go through the lens. We've got a little walnut boy with a hat. We're rushing through what looks like maybe made on a miniature set. Some kind of Victorian era grand hall or great room, maybe in a Victorian era house. It shows us some kind of partially armored skeletal being with a halo and angel wings. It shows us some kind of weird
Oompa Loompa looking motherfucker on a teacup or a sheep
or maybe a mushroom or something. But already in this frame, we have 3 distinct art styles. We have one that looks like a miniature set. We have one that looks like it's claymation, and then we have one that looks like what's the show where
Reboot.
Sure, okay, yeah. We see a person in a spacesuit as an astronaut. We see what looks like an eggplant looking at you
while being half submerged in a cove.
Yeah, we have something that I can't. We have 2 other images that I can't describe to you.
And all of these guys are in different art styles that we're not even stopping. We can't even talk about because it's happening too fast. We can't even really describe
we're stopping the video to describe these to you.
Like as it is, but there's each one of these things was a different art styles, and there's been 8 things that we just talked about.
Yeah, and it's self-described as a psychedelic visual novel, and it is quite psychedelic. This is something that I probably wouldn't want to do while on drugs because it does the drugs for you.
Yeah, it's already done them.
Yeah, right now Walnut Boy is entering a statue of a dragon, and now he's in a chase scene in a Volkswagen Bug in the middle of a tunnel, like an underground tunnel. It shows him in the street in the pouring rain. Now we're going through an ancient tree that has a telephone booth inside of it. We go inside the coin accepting slot for the telephone booth. And we end up on some kind of bridge being built out of Lego blocks that the VW Bug is now riding on. And some kind of Lego...
Starfighter.
Yeah, Lego Starship.
Lego X-Wing looking thing.
Yeah, and then now a world is being very quickly made by dust.
Or unparticleized.
And now we see Walnut Boy wearing the hat, asking us, which galaxy do you choose to eliminate? And on either one of his shoulders, he has a different galaxy, one of which it seems he would like you to eliminate. We haven't gone off the rails. This is all happening in this trailer. Yeah. And this trailer is... We've only gone 54 seconds into the trailer.
Honestly, Fever Dream is the way to describe this.
Yeah, it's got stop motion animation. It's got animation, like what almost looks like crayon drawings. It's got what looks like mini sets. It's got what looks like full on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer style claymation.
Right, like into Game Boy Bomberman pixelated. Right into full-fledged 3D Halo-esque 3D, right into some kind of weird Kafka-esque eyeballs floating through a super realistic library, and now a knight wearing a mask with 2 blades, one run through his chest, one run through his back, sitting on top of the bookshelf. In 2 frames we missed a statue that's been overgrown by moss but has a massive halo above it. And in the next frame, there is a claymation boy staring out of a car as they go past the statue with moss. So I've seen this yellow Volkswagen a few times. Like there's there's a lot going on.
There's so much going on, and as it's descriptive
comic book style art that you're turning in the game. And then you go right into like Final Fantasy VII style from the Bomberman style. Like it.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. it's
give it a look.
As hard as we try to describe it, our words aren't going to do enough. Check out Dome King Cabbage.
Dome King Cabbage.
DOME-KING Cabbage.
Cabbage.
It's a trip. Like, even if this isn't up your alley, like a visual novel doesn't do it for you.
Watch the trailer.
Watch
just to
the
be,
damn trailer.
Just to be like, what?
Yeah, because like we talk about invention and we talk a lot about what's new, what's on the horizon, what can we get out of gaming that hasn't been done before, and I have never seen anything like this. And I like to think that I play a lot of games and that I have an open mind when it comes to trying new things, and I do try a lot of new games, and this is...
Boy, is this new.
Wow, yeah, and kind of mind-blowing. Like, I don't know how they've managed to capture this, and I don't know how they're going to gamify it, but I will definitely be checking this one out. Yeah. Big time. That said, that is a wrap on our coverage of the Gamescom 2023 so far. Opening night live again. It was
they
all right.
Us. Yeah,
it was informative.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, check out the Future Game Show. Just watch the whole hour and 44 minutes. What we didn't talk about is still worth watching. And especially since there's just a dickload of demos out there.
Check
out their trailers.
Over 80 games.
Yeah, check out the trailers. Check out their gameplay on YouTube. See if it's something that you're into. But check out the demos.